I'm Robyn.
And I'm Chelsea.
And we're CYRO Sounds. Welcome to the very first episode of Girls in the Mix.
And if you're new here, like I said, we're CYRO Sounds.
Over the last few years, we've realized that we haven't really told you guys our story.
Yeah, so I mean, before we get into the gigs and the side quests, all that stuff, we thought it's time we bring it back to where it all began.
Today we're answering the biggest question.
Who the fuck is CYRO Sounds?
Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. Chelsea will tell you about herself, and then we'll tell you how we actually met. So for me, I grew up as an athlete. I played tons of sports in high school. I played very competitive hockey my entire life. So after graduating high school, I decided I wanted to get a degree in kinesiology, which is the study of human movement. I had a dream of wanting to be an athletic therapist or a physiotherapist. And while I was in university, I started to really explore my artistic creative side, and people were always asking me to do photo shoots and things like that. So I decided exploring that. At the same time, I decided that I was going to finally try out modeling. It was something that was talked about a lot through my entire childhood and upbringing, but my parents were kind of always like, girl, you gotta pick between sports or modeling, and I always chose sports. So finally, I decided to just put myself out there and meet some agencies. I became a signed model. I graduated with my degree in kin, and I started to travel. And in my third year of university is when I started traveling for school, and it ended up crossing over for work for the first time. So that was very cool. But other than that, I'm super passionate about content creation, fashion, fitness, all of the things. And that's where you'll see a lot of things related to CYRO inspired by that as well.
So growing up, I actually did not play any sports. I was the kid in the corner that was always drawing, so being creative has always been a thing for me. And actually in high school I was offered to go into the visual arts program, but I didn't think at the time it mattered because I didn't want to do anything with it career-wise. But funny how things come full circle and how much I used it these days. So from there I went to Ryerson University for business law and global management. I, at the time, wanted to become a lawyer, but I didn't want to get just stuck doing law, so I decided to get a business degree and then major in both of those just to see if I would like it, if I want to change my career. I just want to be held down to one thing. And then for me, in my fourth year, that's when I decided I wanted to do international exchange as well. I was going to do it the year before, but I got too scared and I backed out. But I didn't want to leave university not traveling at all. And that is when I decided to go to Australia for my last year, because I had to do a fifth, because I was doing all my business courses abroad, but I could only finish my law classes, obviously, within Canada. But for me, growing up, I think I came to find myself a bit older. I was, like I said, I was a bit shy growing up. I didn't feel like I tried out a bunch of things. So coming into my sense of fashion and putting myself out there and not being as shy or being as anxious all happened, I would say, within my 20s. So clothes is a huge way of how I express myself. Music is a huge way of how I express myself. I love going out. I love trying new restaurants. I love doing that with Robyn and myself. I feel like now I'm a bit more out there in regards to trying new things for myself. And yeah.
So you heard us both mention that we traveled in university, and that is actually our friendship and our CYRO origin story. We both traveled to Australia International Exchange. We were going to separate universities. We had never met in person. or anything at this point. I was traveling with one of our best friends, Cassandra. We've been best friends throughout all of university and decided to go on exchange together. And we started living in this really beautiful condo, and we met some other people that were living in the condo, and they mentioned, oh, Robyn, like you have a mutual friend on Instagram that's coming here, and they're describing this person to me, and I was like, I don't know this, I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. So she ends up showing me the Instagram profile, and it happens to be Chelsea. At this point, Chelsea and I had followed each other for years now on Instagram, just through like the grapevine, because we both grew up in Brampton and were kind of like close in neighboring high schools. But Chelsea is a year older than me, so we never really met, especially because I was playing so many sports. I didn't do a lot of social things in high school. I really just went to school, went to practice, went home. So we had never fully met. But when I found out that she was coming, I was like, that sounds cool. Like, I'm sure we'll have things in common. We're from the same hometown. And so I reached out, and I was basically just like, when you get here, I'll show you around. We've already been here. Cassandra and I had been there for already maybe 2 weeks at that point. So we already kind of settled in and got to know where like the grocery store that we liked was, some restaurants we liked, some bars that we liked. So I was like, I'll show you the whole thing. And then when she finally came, we just immediately went on like a walk to get to know the area, and we started just like cross-referencing everything stories, interests, all of that, and we realized we had so much in common, and we've basically been inseparable since.
Yeah, like that one conversation, I remember thinking like there was not a silent moment at all throughout that entire walk. It like we realized how much stuff that we both like, which obviously I have my dear closest friends, and so does Robyn. I don't think I ever clicked with somebody so fast off of like the first conversation. And then again, being from Brampton, we were like, do you know this person? Oh, how do you know this person? Oh, I did this with this person. It was just a full, like, we were just going back and forth, bouncing off like information off of one another. And it almost felt like we did grow up with each other in a way without like actually growing up with each other.
Yeah, like there were so many topics that we touched on in this, like, I don't know, like 10-kilometer walk that we ended up doing, because we just couldn't stop yapping. And it's funny too, because for some reason Cassandra wasn't with us. I think she was working, she had just gotten a job or something, so it was
she wanted to walk to the beach. I didn't want to go.
Yeah, we were like, no, we're not doing that. Anyways, she wasn't with us, which made it more interesting, because I feel like it was really like our like one-on-one connection time, which was very cool. How this ties into us starting to DJ kind of doesn't. At the time, I was taking an elective in Australia for audio production, because I knew I wanted to learn how to DJ or like dabble in music production, because I really wanted to like make like SoundCloud playlists. I just grew up, and my dad would always burn CDs for me and like put all my favorite songs on a CD, and I never learned how to do that. And I was like, well, now we can totally do this digitally. And I was like, I really want to be able to make my own playlists, but have them like very seamless and not have to like skip through songs or whatever. So that was kind of where my head was at. And when I started taking the course, I realized that it was more film audio production, so more to do with like radio hosting and television, and it just wasn't really what I was interested in at the time. Now looking back, I actually would have really enjoyed that course, just because I worked so much in film, but it just wasn't music related, so I ended up dropping it. But I remember telling Chelsea about it, and she was expressing some interest about learning how to DJ, and that came to fruition honestly months later, because when we had gone to Australia, it was February of 2020, and March 2020 is when COVID hit. So we actually had to flee Australia.
That's a whole other story.
To come home. We could do a separate story time about that if you guys want to hear it. It's a longer story.